I don't know what sad corner of YouTube you've been visiting if this isn't the jankiest art setup you've ever seen. My arm is under the bar. Also, I can't draw, so if you came here for actual art, you're going to be disappointed. This is day 2 of Mad Art's Maladaptive Daydreaming inspired Inktober prompt list. And day 2 is para, or as I prefer to call them, just characters. And we're going to be taking this prompt list a different way because I'm not going to share my personal daydreams, characters, or paracosms. So all we are going to be doing is discussing the prompts and how they relate to maladaptive daydreaming, or at least how I would interpret them to relate to maladaptive daydreaming, while I doodle badly. Maladaptive daydreaming characters can come from anywhere. People will sometimes be like, "Are you sure this is maladaptive daydreaming? I don't have my own characters. I just daydream about this celebrity that I like." Or even get confused about the difference between a character and a para. Like, would this character be considered a para or not? And generally, yeah, they will. The difference between a character and a para is just that para is a little more specific to maladaptive daydreaming. The characters themselves can come from anywhere. They can be celebrities, they can be Harry Potter. Who's a good celebrity I could draw here? I don't know. We're going to go with Robert Smith. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good Robert Smith. We're going to make him cry. What makes them pairs is that you have a little bit of an emotional attachment to them. They're something special. They're not like a character in a book. They're something a little more meaningful to you. They can be a romantic interest. They can just be a friend. They can even just be side characters that you don't really do much with. Let's give Harry some wizarding robes here and a wand. So the term was actually come up with by the maladaptive daydreaming Tumblr community. Someone just one day said like, "Hey, I don't really like characters. Should we have a word for this?" And everybody else was just like, "We're going to make this a thing." And then they made it a thing. And it's really taken off. You can see people use the term para in a lot of other communities. I'll even see it on Reddit, on the Facebook. Para, I don't know, a lovely wedding dress for our romantic interests, I guess. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Oh my God, this is so. She needs a tiara and a veil. But it doesn't really matter what term you use. Everybody will know what you're talking about if you say character. Among other maladaptive daydreamers, like we all know what the experience is like. What would Robert Smith wear? Give him big boots. And so how you experience your characters or your paras isn't particularly important to determine whether or not what you have is maladaptive daydreaming. Yeah, it's common to be super emotionally wrapped up in your characters, but it's not universal. There can be something else about the daydreaming that is vivid and emotional that's making it the immersive experience that we all know and recognize. Creepy smile, big smile. He's so happy he defeated Voldemort. There's this meme too that we've really put our characters through hell. As much as they're the objects of our love, they also bear the brunt of a lot of our negative daydreaming, where they sometimes take on the role of protector or comforter or rescuer, but they often do take on the role of, like, I don't know, maybe self-insert in a way, or someone we can project a lot of bad stuff onto without thinking it in terms of being actually us. Or they can even be villains. I mean, you don't have to love your characters. You can kind of hate them too. They can be the bad guys. And how many there are doesn't really matter either. You can be the kind of person who really only has one character. And maybe you have an idolized self or a parame alongside them. Here, hold hands, guys. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just them and a bunch of background characters that don't actually mean anything and don't quite make it to para status. Or you can be the kind of person who has like, oh, I 1,000, 550, 35. I don't even know. Some people just have tons. And that doesn't say much about whether or not you're a maladaptive daydreamer or not either. All of this stuff about whether or not some specific aspect of the way you daydream makes you valid or not. It doesn't reflect on that. 300 characters doesn't make you any more or less or more severe or mild of a maladaptive daydreamer than anybody else. And there's even another kind of maladaptive daydreamer who will say that they have no characters. There's one guy I ran into on Reddit years ago, and he said that he didn't have characters, he had cities, and his daydreaming was more the rise and fall of civilizations. And he would watch them grow up from, like, little huts to more like recognizably modern homes, and then into, big industrial complexes, and eventually thriving metropolises. And sure, the cities were, populated by people, and there might even be big, dynasty style families, but they weren't characters. They weren't paras. The cities were. So that was kind of a really cool, unique thing I learned. And I think that's all the thoughts I have on the word of the day, the prompt of the day. And tomorrow's word is paracosm. If you have any specific thoughts on para, put it in the comments, or better yet, doodle a bit and post it with the tag Maddtober. Go over to Mad Art and send Levi some love, and I'll see you tomorrow.